All right, and we are recording this session just so everyone knows. I will be sending a follow-up email after this session with this recording and last weekend's recording as well. I will also be sending out the PowerPoint slides as well. So please don't feel like you have to write everything down or memorize anything. I will be sending this information to you in the follow-up email. So we are going to be, covering quite a bit. So on organic farming and soil basics. I don't know if we're going to take up the full 2-hour span. We might. But like I said, we will have a 5 to 10 minute break, and just to stretch, get some water, refresh, and yeah, let's get started. So we already did the warm welcome. Let me just put this on presentation mode. So the meeting format for today is we will be defining organic certified farming, specific organic practices, and why Bigger River Farms is a certified organic farm, and that it is a certified organic farm and what that means. And then we'll be diving more into soil inputs, what they are, what is organic approved, and we're going to go over the MCIA organic materials list. I did send this to you guys in an attachment in the email that I sent out, the reminder email, but I can pull it up once we get to that slide. Okay. Sorry, whoops. Once we get to that slide, I will pull up that document and we can go over it together. And then we'll be defining seeds and what to look for. And then we did mention that in last class, we were going to go over the seed search. So we will go over that later in the slides. And then we'll have time for Q&A session. And then also a little bit of kind of, not homework necessarily, but we'll just kind of be going over some of the things that you guys could start visioning for your farms, and that's going to be kind of the last slide. I do want to say too that this class isn't going to be about how to apply for organic certification. We're not going to dive super far into that. That can be a separate class with our certifier. If that is something that you are interested in doing with your personal farm, if you are one day wanting to have a certified organic farm, we can work on how to fill out those applications and go into more details about how to become a certified organic farmer. In this class, we're just going to be doing an overview of organic farming, organic practices. And then this also isn't going to be a class we're not going to be diving super far into soil health and soil fertility. We will have a separate class on that, and where we're going to dive further into that, because I know that's a big interest and very important when it comes to organic farming and taking care of the land. And then I just see that I have 2 things in the chat here, so I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Will we need a copy? Tori just asked, will we need a copy until I get a book? Thank you. Can you emphasize on a copy? What copy are you talking about? The MCIA materials list?
Yes.
Yes, so you will be getting a copy in your binder, and that binder, so I did send out an email earlier this week about picking up your binders. Those binders have just different forms, different resources, educational resources for you to use throughout the season. It's also has different record keeping forms, things like that. And so you can email me and we can figure out a time that you can come and pick up those binders. if you have not picked them up yet. And we can figure out best times for that. Jess, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that the binders are for the land-based farmers, farmer participants only. If you're education only, you don't need a binder, but you will get, we will give you access to all of the documents that are in the binder, but you're not going to get a hard copy of the documents. You won't get the binder itself.
Okay, and Augustine, are you farming at Big River Farms, or do you have your own land? Or are you education only?
I'm new here. That means when I do my garden on my backyard here.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to do more. If I can do on the river, it's okay.
Yep, we will send you those documents then to your email. Yep, you're welcome. All right, so I'm going to get started here. Oops. There we go. So just a general definition of USDA organic defined. So Big River Farms is a certified organic farm. And we were certified in 2008. So that's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting that we're a kind of communally based farm and we're certified organic. That's kind of a rare thing. So it is a big thing to be proud of. And just to dive further into organic certification. So organic certified means that it's a type of farming where your food is grown and processed based on the USDA federal guidelines. So you do have to pay money to be certified organic, and you need a certification. And these guidelines address soil quality, animal raising practices, disease and pest control methods, and soil inputs. Oops, sorry. Here we go. So organic farming, oops. Okay. So I will answer, so what I'll say about questions right now before I dive further in is that I'll answer them kind of at the end of a section. So sorry if I'm not answering them right away, I will answer your questions. I just want to make sure that we get into this topic and I cover what needs to be covered.
And Becca, I can cover if we're getting questions that are more focused on the program itself. I can tackle those in the chat.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah, so organic farming relies on natural methods of growing. So utilizing crop rotation, using compost and natural forms of fertilizer, cover crop planting, using non-GMO seeds, incorporating biological pest control methods, meaning that instead of using spray pesticides, you're using kind of more just like using your hands and getting rid of the pests that way, or using more organic certified pest control methods. And also organic farming is based on traditional growing practices from many different cultures. And then a little bit on sustainability in organic farming. So when you're farming organic, you're farming directly with nature, in relationship with nature, and you're just creating an environment where life can thrive. Your focus is on growing the soil and creating healthy land for future generations. It sustains the health of the land, the people, and ecosystems. So yeah, so it's good for, holistically, it's good for all of those things. And also when eating organic, you're you know, it's a lot healthier for our bodies to be eating organic foods, and it's healthier for the land as well. And it relies on the ecological process, biodiversity, and the local conditions of place. Okay, so I can just stop here and answer any questions. How much is the fee? I'm actually not sure about that, but Jess, you know?
Yeah, I was tackling that question. I'm gonna get some clarity on which program
Oh,
Kathy
perfect.
is referring to. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank
If
you.
anyone else is curious, if anyone else has any program questions, you can leave them in the chat and I can answer you directly.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Oh, okay. Sorry. Safi's was actually referring to the fee, the organic certification fee, which I actually don't know.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar with that either. I know that our certifier would be, and we can have a separate class with her where we can explain those details on pricing and different things like that. I'm not going to dive super far into those details about the certification process in this class, but we can have a separate class on that.
Yes. If I know we have some of our returning farmers on this call, like Michael and Dee, if y'all do have any insight to the cost of the certification, if not, don't worry about it because we can tackle that later.
Yeah.
But if you do, you can let us know.
Hi, it's Peggy Newfield, and often it's a tiered system, and I don't want to speak to actual numbers because I'm not sure if it's different state by state, but it can be tied to the income of your farm. So there's tiers, and I can't remember exactly what they are. I just know I'm in the lowest one.
Great, thank you, Peggy. Okay, we can move forward with diving more into organic specific practices. So crop rotation is the practice of changing crop families each year on the same piece of land. So some crop families have the same demands on the soil. So having crop rotation improves the soil fertility. And then some crop families also attract the same pests and share the same diseases. So when we rotate our crops, it breaks that insect, disease, and weed cycles. And also just understanding that variety gives stability to farming systems and having diversity too. So this is just kind of like a little visual of what that can kind of look like. You know, you could be switching these things around every year, like you're going to grow a tomato in this row, and then next year you can grow radishes there, or, you know, you just want to, that's kind of the idea of crop rotation. And then the utilization of non-GMO seeds. So non-GMO seeds are not genetically engineered, and they're cultivated through pollination. So so a hybrid is a plant variety that it's developed carefully by cross-pollination and of two different parent plants. And I can dive more into that a little bit in a different slide that I have here. And then open pollinated seeds are produced from random pollination by wind, birds, insects, or other natural means. So yeah, not genetically engineered, and was not a part of the plant breeding, is not a part of the plant breeding process. And then a little bit about cover crops. I know that we talked a little bit about this in the crop families presentation last week, but this is a huge component to organic farming. So cover crops are seeded and grown to cover the land. Then they are cut and tilled into the soil, which adds nutrients and organic matter into the soil. And cover crops can be planted at different times of the year. So a common cover crops are winter rye or hairy vetch, which is this one right here. It is then incorporated into the soil in the spring. Yeah, and then here's some red clover and then some winter rye. Yeah. And then natural soil fertility management. So this will just bring long-term benefits for many years to come. So having cover crops, mineral amendments, and compost, which adds long-term structure. And then this is just a little visual of the components that go into making and creating compost. So you have your brown materials, your woody materials, your green materials, and water, and then air. And that's how compost is created. And then we'll have another class on how to make your own compost, soil fertility, and dive more into that. And then pest, disease, and weed management and organic practices. So when you're farming organically, there's going to be, to kind of manage the pests and diseases, you're going to do a lot more crop rotation and cover crop planting, like I was mentioning. And you can use row cover, which will protect against flea beetles and other pests. So you can use that early in the year when you're planting and your plants are really small in the ground. You can put some row cover on them, and that will help prevent some of these pests and diseases, instead of using other non-organic methods. Like some non-organic farms might use different sprays to manage that. In organic farming, this is how you would manage that. And weed management in organic farming, you can use cover crops to help with weed management, mechanical cultivation, using hand tools or a wheel hoe. You can also use black plastic mulch or straw mulch to help with the weed management. And then let me just stop there. Yes.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was gonna say, Devin asked what types of mineral amendments can be used.
Yeah, we'll address that a little bit more in a later slide about the inputs that can be used. Some of the organic inputs that are allowed through our certifier. So we can look that over in the MCIA form that we have. Okay. And then why is Big River Farms certified organic? Just, caring for the land, the health of our farmers and our customers. It communicates our practices to our customers and lets them know that we are inspected by a certified group. It helps us train you in organic farming and the organic certification process when you decide to move on to your own farm potentially, and you can learn more about how to incorporate these organic practices into your farm. And it just creates the same standard for everyone on our farm. So we will all be farming organically, and yeah. And then I think we're going to move on to a different section here, onto soil inputs. So are there any questions before we move on to that? Any questions about organic farming, organic practices? Okay, soil inputs. So this is what you are putting into your soil. So anything you put into your land, soil, or onto your plants. So this includes seeds, water, fertilizer, pesticides, transplants or slips, cover crops, paper chains, inoculants, potting soil, And just to emphasize that synthetic pesticides and chemical fertilizers are not organic. And then, so they all must be approved by your organic certifier, all the inputs that you have in your soil, or Big River Farm staff or us before purchasing. And an OMRI or organic does not necessarily mean it's okay without approval. And you want to just keep record of all your receipts and packaging. It's really important to keep record of these things. And then I think at this moment, I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second so I can go over kind of that MCIA certified sheet with you of the materials. Because I know that some of you probably don't have that sheet. So I did send it in the email, so you can pull it up yourself. I'm also going to pull it up on my screen. Okay, let me share again. Whoops. Okay. Well, that works. Okay. So this is the materials list and review. Oh wait, is this the right one? Yeah, it is. Okay. So MCIA is the Minnesota Crop Improvement Association. It is our certifier or organic certifier in Minnesota. And here is a list of, so this is, so this is a list of some of these products that are organic and approved that you can put into your soil. So let's, there's different potting soil. So Cowsmo is a really popular one. And so here's the product name. The manufacturer is Cowsmo. The reason for use, why are you using it? Is it for these specific things? For this one, it's potting soil. In use or may use are, so yeah, yes or no, are you going to use it or not? Restriction for use, there is none. And then approved for use 2019, and then the inspector will verify it. And then there's different fertilizers that are approved. Sustain is a really popular one. Can you guys see this? Oh, okay, sorry, I just got like a notification that something, okay. And let's see if there's any kind of different ones. So for this one, the custom blend 1118, the product, the manufacturer is Midwestern BioAg. It's a fertilizer. And then right here, it says under the restriction for use is you can only use up only 12 bags left. Oh, sorry. Okay, that was just a manufacturing issue. Okay. Let's see. I just want to look at one. So for coffee grounds, these can be approved at various different manufacturers. And then right here for the restriction for use, it can't be flavored coffee. So just be looking out for these things when you're looking for the restriction for use. So like for these ones, these more insecticide ones, it looks like there's more restrictions. So for this Dipel DF dry flowable biological insecticide, it says it may be used as a pesticide if the requirements of 205, 206 are met, which this is something that we'd have to look into what that means, which requires that the use of preventive mechanical, physical, and other pest, weed, and disease management practices. So yeah, just be looking out for these when you're trying to figure out what inputs you want in your soil, just look out for the restrictions on these, and then and I know that Devin, you were asking about minerals. So yeah, we do have some mined minerals. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of different inputs that you can put in that are approved by our certifier. So I would just recommend looking over this sheet and just trying to see if this is, what inputs you're wanting to put in your soil, filling this out for your record and our record, and just to see if this would be, yeah. Yeah, thank you, Jess. Yeah, it is in your binders. It is in the, we'll send this in a follow-up email. So I just wanted to go over it with you guys in this presentation too. It's pretty easy to navigate. Yeah. Let me know if you have any questions on this right now, though. If there's anything more you want me to go over. Okay. Jess, is there anything that you wanted to say?
Yeah, I was just in the chat about to put a few of the inputs that are on this list that we carry in the Big River Farm store.
Oh, perfect.
So all of these are approved, but in our store, we tend to carry Sustain, Dramatic K, and Entrust, which I just put in the chat. So as you're kind of looking through all of these approved materials, those are the ones that we have at our store. But any of these you can purchase yourself for your own farm.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. Okay, I will exit out of that. Oops, I stopped sharing my screen, so. Okay. And let's move on to the next slide here. So these are just some examples of the soil inputs, some of the brand labels. So Cosmos is a really popular one for, they have soil, potting soil, and compost as well. And then this is a really popular one too. Jess was just saying the Sustain, which is a fertilizer. That's a really popular organically used fertilizer. And then, so seed packet info. So your seed packet is going to tell you a lot about, if they're organic, if they are an heirloom or open pollinated. And I will go into more detail about the specific organic seed brands that we use at the farm and that are safe to use, that are organic certified, non-GMO. So just be sure that you are reading your seed packets. They have so much information on them. I know I covered that in the last class as well about just the amount of information that seed packets have on. You really, want to read them, read the back of them. Yeah. And then I think we are kind of reaching a point where we can take a small break right now. So I want to make sure to get that in because I know this can get a little long. So I think I did schedule in a break at 11. So how about we take a 5-minute break? So we'll come back at 11:05 and then we can complete the presentation. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you got some water, stretching in, whatever it is you needed. I know this can get a little long. And I saw, Veda, that you had a question about the paper dot chain. And does Big River Farms have a paper pot transplanter? Jess, do you know if we have that, or should we talk to someone in the operations team?
I think we do. I would like to get confirmation from, I don't know, Emilio, can we confirm?
Yeah, we was working to update the list of the inventory.
Mhm.
I think we have now in the list, but we have in the list, so we can provide that one in the future. So I don't know how many we have now,
Mhm.
but yeah, there is in the list.
Great.
So if we don't have it now, we will have it when the
Mhm.
season starts.
Thank you.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, and we will also have a separate class with members of the operation team, kind of explaining the equipment and the materials that we have for you all to use. So we'll have a further dive into that in a separate class too. So will cover all those things as well. All right, let me share my screen again and continue on with the presentation. And I think I accidentally skipped over a slide maybe. No, I didn't. Okay. So the type, oh, here, people. Okay. So the types of seeds, so there's organic seeds like I was explaining, so that these are seeds that are harvested from plants that are grown organically. And then there are also a type of seed called pelleted seeds. And these seeds are coated and it makes them easier to plant. Like sometimes those really, really small, tiny seeds are hard to plant, and you can get them pelleted and they're easier to see when you're direct seeding them. So those are really good for seeds that you are direct seeding, and pelleted seeds are allowed if the pelleted seed is National Organic. That's what NOP stands for, is the National Organic Program. They have to be approved or compliant with those standards. And then we kind of went over this a little bit, but I'll talk a little bit more about the organic seed varieties. So there's the open pollinated seeds, which is a vegetable that relies on pollination by nature. So like I said, it's produced from the wind or insects when the plant is pollinated by itself or another plant of that variety. So it will produce seeds that will produce plants just like its parent plant. And then the heirloom seeds are open pollinated vegetables that have been passed down through generations of growers. And then the hybrid, which I explained a little bit, but I can explain again, is a vegetable that is created with two different varieties of one vegetable and are cross-pollinated in an attempt to produce a plant that contains certain traits from each parent. So it's just a natural process within members of the same species. And then do I have a question? Okay. Hey, I just want to pause for a second. Jess, we are having a little bit of issues with the interpretation with Andreas and Mario. Do you mind messaging Andreas and seeing if you can help him
Absolutely.
figure it out? Thank you so much. All right. Thank you all for your patience. Yeah, and then diving more into GMO and treated seeds. So treated seeds are seeds that have begun or have been covered with a chemical that usually is to kill bacteria or fungus. So these are never allowed when you're organic farming. These are not allowed at the Big River farms. GMO seeds are seeds where whose genetic material has been intentionally altered in a way that is just not possible in nature. So these are never allowed in organic farming or at Big River farms. And so diving more into the seeds to buy, to be certified organic, you must use organic seeds unless you have a very good reason why they're not organic. And these possible reasons could be that that specific variety is just not available in organic. So it might be a more unique vegetable that just you can't find organic. And you wanting that specific variety. So finding organic seeds. So one of the organic seed companies, High Mowing Seeds, all of their seeds are organic. They are a trustworthy seed company. And then Johnny's Select Seeds, you want to look in the catalog and online. So when you're looking online, these are just some of the things to look for. Organic hybrid for spring and summer plantings. And then you can just read a little bit more about that specific variety. So this is a specific variety of Bellstar organic F1 broccoli seed. You know, it just tells you a little bit more about the plant, and then it tells you about how many seeds are going to be in the pack. So, you know, the average is 142,100 seeds per packet, and then they're organically grown. And then Seed Savers is also another one that's really trustworthy that uses the organic logo. Okay. Move on to the next slide. So Territorial Seed Company, they list organic and conventional together. So just be careful when you are ordering seeds to just be very, very aware of what you're ordering. So if you see this, this does not mean that it's organic, because it has conventional and organic. That does not mean that it's USDA certified organic. So that's just something to keep an eye out for when you're looking for your seeds in either online or in a catalog. Yeah, just be aware of that. So if you are going to have to use non-organic seeds, like I said, this might be a seed that's more of a unique variety. You just cannot find it in organic. So you couldn't find the organic version of that seed, but the seed is non-GMO and the seed is not treated. So it might not be certified organic, but you do want to make sure that the seed is still non-GMO and that it's not treated. Oh, okay. Perfect.
Becca, I also just wanted to add that for the farmers in the land-based program, we have ordered seed catalogs from Johnny's, Territorial, and High Mowing for each farmer. If you're not in our land-based program, if you're education only, it's super easy. You can go to each of those sites, and all you have to do, I think it's similar for all of those sites. There's an area in the site that asks to request a catalog, and you go and you just put your email in, essentially, or your email and your home address, and they just send you a catalog. I'm pretty sure it's free, and if it's not free, it's for a very low price. So they're super accessible. It's really easy to go on those sites and get a catalog. But if you're in our land-based program, then we'll have catalogs waiting for you.
Perfect, thank you. So this is the process if you are not using, if you're using a non-organic seed, you're going to do a seed search. So, so the first step is that you prove you couldn't find that seed organically. So to prove this, you use the seed search form, which I did attach to the email that I sent out last night, and I will attach it in the follow-up email as well. So if this does happen, that you are looking for a specific seed variety and you cannot find it in the USDA, USDA organic, then this is the process that you have to go through. So you are required to look at 3 places. So here it is shown that, farm name, Molly's Farm. The crop that she was looking for was broccoli. The variety was Imperial, and the source was Johnny's. She looked at High Mowing, she looked at Territorial, she looked at Seed Savers, and she could not find it in these 3. And she got it from Johnny's, but she couldn't find it in USDA organic. So that's just how you have to go about that process. And proving the seed is not GMO. So this is pretty easy. The seed companies we use mostly have signed a safe seed pledge, which promises to never sell GMO seeds. And if you are ordering from a company not on this list, you can call them and ask them if they've signed the safe seed pledge. So some of these companies that are a part of the safe seed pledge are Fedco, Seeds of Change, Seed Savers Exchange, Johnny's Select Seeds, Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds, Territorial Seeds, High Mowing, Osborne, and Vermont Bean Seed. So those are some of the main companies that you can use to get organic seeds. and they're part of the Safe Seed Pledge. And you'll get these slides too, so you'll have that list. And I believe, Jess, did we send that in the binders, kind of a list of the seed companies to purchase from?
Yes.
Okay. So that will be in your binders, and we will have that for our education only participants as well. Because we do have a virtual folder on Google Drive that has all of those documents in there as well. So you can access them virtually. Oh, okay. And then the third process, proving that the seed is not treated. So when you're doing your seed search, this is a third process, proving that the seed is not treated. Some seed companies do not sell treated seeds at all, such as High Mowing, Seed Savers Exchange, Baker Creek, Fedco, and Seeds of Change. So these ones, you will be sure that they will not be selling the treated seeds. So some companies like Johnny's and Territorial do sell treated seeds, so you just need to know what you are buying. So looking out for that when you're purchasing. And then if you are thinking about using saved seeds, if the seed was saved from crops that were certified organic, that's always okay. And then if the seed was saved from crops that were not certified organic, the treat it the same as a non-organic seed. So you want to do another seed search, must be completed. A seed search must be completed, and whoever grew the crop must sign a statement that the seeds were not treated and not GMO. So that's how you'll go about that, that process using saved seeds. Are there any questions before I move on? Because I think we're doing pretty good on timing.
Can I ask a quick question about the previous section?
Sure.
So when you talked about the pesticides and the fertilizers, so are those like nice to have, recommended, or should we, because this is our first year, should we plan that we're more likely to use fertilizers and pesticides, the organic, of course, the approved type, or is that just as needed as things progress?
Yeah, that is entirely kind of up to you. If that's something that, as you said, it does have to be certified organic. If it is going to be a fertilizer or pesticide that you can use, but there are different ways that you can manage disease and pesticides. Like I was saying, you can use row cover. You can always use cover crops to help with that. I understand that maybe using cover crops is more advanced in farming, but you can use row cover to help with pest management. But if you are interested in using fertilizers or pesticides, you do want to look at that MCIA list to see what's approved, and that's entirely up to you what you're wanting to do with your farm in that area.
Can I add on to that, Becca?
Thanks.
Yeah, sure.
I think so. What's really great about having so many farmers on one plot of land is that everyone is doing things really differently. So we have a lot of farmers that use a lot of amendments in their soil. And what's good about the amendments that, especially the ones that we provide at the Big River Farms, that we provide in our store, is that they, because even essentially, it is completely your choice, and especially as a first-year farmer, you can kind of use this year to kind of experiment. I know that some of our first-year farmers last year wanted to use absolutely no amendments, which is hard, but it's they really wanted to get to know their land and kind of see what they needed. And I think this year they're planning on, because they know kind of what's going on with their soil and their land, they're going to use amendments based off of that. And other farmers use a lot of amendments because, they're coming right in wanting to produce as much as possible. So I think it depends a lot on, kind of your vision for your farm, what you want, to do in that vein, because I think that whichever road you take, will kind of be able to be there to support you to figure out, you know, what the best thing for the land is. So that's what I feel like kind of makes it fun, is that there's no wrong way to do it. And Emilio, what's great is Emilio, as our sustainability coordinator, he's going to meet with every farmer to kind of look at your land and kind of, you know, see what you need, what you're, you know, what you need in your soil, what has previously, you know, grown on that land, and that can help to inform your decisions as well. But it's completely up to you.
Yeah, thank you, Jess, for that insight. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, moving forward. Looking at a seed catalog for untreated seeds. So yeah, this is pretty simple. Just looking at this bottom section right here, you can select either the 6073 treated. Well, yeah, it's just showing you the difference. So you want to do the 6036 untreated version. So just making sure when you're ordering that you're ordering. So if you are going to order the super sweet yellow variety of corn, that you do the 6036 untreated version of it. So these are just the things that you have to look for when you're ordering seeds. And then also how many are in a packet as well. And then, so when you're deciding on varieties, you want to, of course, read the description in the seed catalog. That's going to provide a lot of great information for you. And then try to focus on 1 to 2 catalogs that you order from, so you don't get too overwhelmed with having multiple different seed companies that you're trying to buy from. It can get kind of overwhelming. So just focusing on 2 seed companies will help you out. And then you can look at the, we did have a handout in the binder as well. And I don't think I put this in the attachment in the email, so I can add that in the follow-up. But you can look at the recommended variety handout that we have, and that will help you, that will give you some advice on that. And then, yeah, so remembering that this is your farm, plant what's interesting to you. And like Jess was saying, you know, if you're wanting to put soil amendments into your soil, if you're not, like, it's entirely up to you what you want to do with your farm, with your soil, which is a really beautiful thing. And yeah, so yeah, we already went over the seed search and order form, but we do require the seed list. So make sure that if you are doing the seed search, that you are filling out this form and keeping it in record, and that we're able to kind of assist you with that process. And yeah. And then ways to order seeds. So so in that one picture I showed you back with the corn, there was it kind of shows you, you know, the packet, how much it is. There's 1,000 seeds in one packet. And then, so yeah, usually it's 1 pound equals 16 ounces, or if you're counting, you sometimes order seeds by the 1,000. So 1,000 seeds, 1 M equals 1,000 seeds. And then, so we did talk about crop planning and plot planning in the last class. So in terms of knowing how much to order, you want to refer back to that. So, you know, number of seeds equals the flat size times the seeds per cell times 1.2 extra. So this is kind of how you would figure that out. How much to order, how much you want to plant, how much you're expecting to harvest. So yeah, direct seeding crops are a little bit harder to gauge, and just, yeah, so using your plant spacing handout to read how many seeds per foot, which is also another handout that's in your resource binder, and then just calculating how much seeds you're going to need. And this is a part of your crop plan as well. So you would have the seeds that you're needing equals the seeds divided by the foot times bed feet times rows divided by bed times 1.2 extra. So I know this is kind of confusing maybe. So if this is something that you're wanting to have more information on, you have questions about, we can go over this one-on-one together and I can help you with this. Because I know the crop planning process and the plot planning can be a little challenging at first. So, you know, I'm here to support you on that. If you need any extra assistance with that, I'd be happy to help work on that with you. And we can talk about that in a second here. So yeah, using your records, keep good records of everything, of your seeds, your soil inputs. It's just really good to keep records, and we can go over in a separate class too about record keeping in general, because I think that would be really good. If you've never, you know, farmed before, if you've never kept records before, it's really important. And it will just help you for seasons to come as well. You know, you kept your records from last season, it's going to help you the next season, and it's going to help you the next season after that. It's just really good to keep those records and keep them in order. So when you're ordering seeds next year, when you're just even when you're planting your crops in the following year, you can know that, like, oh, I planted, you know, this and this plot and this plant and this plot, and just knowing so that you can do crop rotation and things like that. It's just really good to keep record of those things. Okay, so we reached the end of that. Are there any last minute questions about any of the topics we covered today? Or any comments?
It's a good session. Thank you.
Thank you, Veda.
I have a question. So can you only farm organic based on the training you're given? That's what should be continuing at the Big River Farm. That's what should be looked at it and mention the word as organic. So you cannot say that if you're not. So I just want to know that question about the organic. What's that difference if people say, well, you're farmer, you have vegetables or fruits, and then you go to the stores and then organic. So is this only what it does in a big farm, or it can be regular farming as well? I don't know if that question makes sense.
Yeah, so if I'm understanding correctly, if you are certified organic and you're farming organically, you can say that your produce or your crops are organic certified. So if you are farming at Big River Farms, your crops are considered organic. Does that answer your question?
Right. Now, yes and no. So that's part of it. And how even though you're going out there and you are the word organic, do you have to, being a farmer at Big River Farm, that's the only crops and farming you do is in organic, or you can just farm and it doesn't have to use the word organic? Because it's based on that in the market. When you're selling at the farmer's market or any market, the prices might be different based on the language when you put it in there.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah. Jess,
Yeah, I can jump in. So if you're farming at Big River Farms, part of the program is going through that organic certification. So, and because we want our land to be certified organic, when you are if you're farming on Big River Farms, then you will have to be certified organic. But you know, that's something that if you go to the farmer's market, that's not something that you you're saying you don't necessarily have to advertise it. It can be helpful for you, but you don't, it's not something that you necessarily have to advertise. But at the same time, if you're, and I don't know if this is answering your question, but there's a lot of smaller farms that are not certified organic, but they don't use any like pesticides, any chemicals, and they only use organic things, because the organic certification process is it's pretty tedious, and it there is money involved. So there's a lot of smaller farms that don't go through that process because it is difficult, and or there might be something about their land or something about their business model that doesn't allow them to be certified organic, even though all of their practices are technically organic. So there's a lot of small farms, like I'm sure you see at farmers market, when you see farms that say no chemicals, no pesticides, that means that they technically are going through the practices. It's just the certification is kind of a long and hard process. That's why we help you through that process when you're in our when you're in our program. Does that help at all?
I think what she is wanting to ask is, when can you use that term organic? And to answer that question, unless you are USDA certified organic, you cannot mention that you're organic at all. You can only say that you are using, like, that the produce are grown naturally.
Naturally, no pesticides. You can say
Naturally.
no pesticides,
Yeah.
no chemicals.
Pesticides, but you can't
if
use
you're
the
not
organic word.
Yes,
Yeah.
if you don't go
Unless
through that
you're-
process, you cannot use it. But that's why you see that a lot in farmers markets. You see like no pesticides, no chemicals, grown naturally, and that tends to mean that. But you cannot use the term organic unless you go through the certification process.
Yeah.
Is that helpful?
So
Yeah.
using, that did answer, thank you so much. All three of them has different aspects of the question that answer. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah,
Thank you,
so
Dee,
much for your
too.
question.
Mhm. That was a really good question.
Mhm. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Actually, can I add one more thing, one more
Yes.
element to that question?
Yeah.
With the list of all of the things you can use on your land, and like, and I don't know, I can't remember, Becca, did we show the template we have for people marking everything that they're inputting on their land?
Yeah, the MCA sheet,
Yeah, well,
materials
yeah.
list.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's so important to keep record of all of that, and to be super careful of the inputs that you put on your land, because like, even if you use just the tiniest bit of something that's not certified organic, then your land is not certified organic, and that land has to go to rest for at least 3 years. So you just have to be very, very careful, super intentional about what you're using. Because like, even, if there's a pest issue that's terrible, or there's like a gopher issue that's terrible, and you really want to, do the quickest thing to get rid of it, you just want to be like really sure that whatever you're using on the land and whatever you put into the soil is organic, because that land will need to be put to rest for at least 3 years if there's anything non-organic put into it.
Yep. Yeah, it's really important to use that list, and that will be a really great resource for you. So I highly recommend using it. I think you have to use it at our farm.
Yeah.
Because we have to show the certifier what all of our farmers are putting into their soil. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Jess. Okay, well, if there aren't any more questions right now, I just wanted to kind of have this last moment to just kind of, I would love for you guys to kind of start, if you haven't already, to start visioning your farm, just kind of start thinking about the crops that you want to plant. I know I kind of mentioned this in the last class when we discussed crop families. And so just kind of starting to think about that, visioning what you want to grow, what you want your farm to look like. and then starting to create your plot plan. How much of each plant do you want? How do you want to best use your space? And then start thinking about the soil inputs you might want to implement into your soil. Do you want to maybe have some compost or fertilizers? And then you can also start with kind of thinking about the crops you want to plant. You can also start kind of looking into different seed catalogs, seeds online. I highly encourage you to start kind of visioning, because like I was saying in the last class, it's just a beautiful time during the winter to just start visioning your farm and thinking about these things, because it's a quiet time, and it's also a beautiful time to just kind of start planning these things. And yeah, so and also just please feel welcome to reach out to me if you have any questions or if you want any support or help with any of these topics. I am here to help you. Yeah.
Becca, I have a question.
Yes.
So when do the like, what is the time when when we start doing the transplants, the seedlings in the greenhouse?
Yeah, I believe that starts in March, mid-March. Is that correct, Jess?
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, and we'll also have a discussion with the operations team and kind of with all of you and discuss when we'll start doing that, and we'll kind of give a tour of the greenhouse space that we have, and when we will be starting our transplants.
Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, are there any other questions, comments? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. So Joy was asking for group partner farmers. Do we sign one contract? Also, what about tuition and fees? I believe that they just have to sign one contract. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then the tuition and fees are on the participation agreement. When you're reading that over, I can send you the participation agreement if you did not get it, Joy.
And as for tuition, the tuition is per person, not per farm, but the fees for land is per farm, like per plot of land. So tuition, you each pay for, your own like participation, but when it comes to land fees and why am I blanking? Land and like infrastructure fees, that is like per farm group. Does that answer your question, Joy?
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Can both Can both partners get the scholarship? Tori is asking that question.
Tori, we can, I believe so. And if we want to talk more about that, we can talk about that offline, if that works for you.
Yes, thank you.
No problem.
Perfect.
And I have
Veda,
the poll.
go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Veda.
yes. No, go ahead.
If Veda, did you have a question? Sorry, I saw you. Okay. Okay, so everyone, after every session, we are going to do a poll. If you could please fill it out. We just want to get information about our sessions that can help, just so we know how we're doing and can help improve our sessions in the future. So I'm going to put this poll up on the screen, and If everyone could take a second to fill it out. It's just 3 quick questions, yes or no answers. Everyone could fill that out. That would be great. Is it showing up on your screens? And also these polls are completely anonymous. So if anyone's worried about that, you can absolutely let us know how you feel. Okay, I think everyone answered the polls. We're good to go.
Yeah, it looks like quite a few of you, 60%, answered yes to needing help with the seed or soil input searching. So I would be happy to help you with that. I will reach out to you all this week and kind of figure out a scheduled time that I can do one-on-one meetings with some of you that do need some extra support with this. Because I would love to have some more, and I will be incorporating more one-to-one technical assistance or office hours, and I can figure out what times work best for you, and we can work together on some of these things. So. Okay. Great. Well, I hope you guys all, I can share those results. I hope you guys all learned something new today, and it was really great having you all here. Thank you all for coming. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know you all more. And yeah, do we have a question? Oh.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Bye.
we'll see you all. We'll see you all at 1 p.m. for your marketing class.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank
you
you
all.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Peggy.
Yeah, thank you, Peggy.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Becca.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.